Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Viggy. And ik maak
live videos.
Mostly of Yiddish. Mostly of Yiddish. Come back to the hunting video. Please consider. Give a like, share. Give a subscribe. Het gaat een lange week. If you don't mind. CG. Hello and welcome. How was your day? How was my walk? It was nice. It was nice. It was very nice. Okay, when they had an MCETS. Yossi Fish. Hello and welcome, Yossi. How you doing? Gang 98. Hello, hello. How was your day? Yossi Fish, we got a new guy. Yossi Fish, maybe checks the head on. Thank you. MCETS had ons geschikt. En dat die wilste ogen chicken hebben van de Moontig unboxing. Nog eenmaal post the address. Deze is de address op die wil chicken hebben van de unboxing, man. Dit zijn als eigen in de free. Gang 98, how was your day? CG, how was your day? And Yossi Fish and Viggy, nice. Yossi, somebody schön gesehen. Somebody schön gesehen. My day was very good. How was yours? Actually very humid, zoekste. Maanse ogen geweest. Zaire humid. Zaire humid. It was actually very humid. Gewalkt hand 14,829 steps as of now. This is. But my day was actually okay. But Yossi Fish, welcome to the channel. Was in mijn day deleten? Was in mijn day deleten? So we will hand reviewen is Twisted Parenting with Avi Fishoff. Ergwen of the Struggle podcast. The Struggle. Toen hebben we een paar minuten in. It's getting better and better. That's nice. That's good to hear. First sunglasses. What do you mean? Ich habe immer die Cap für MCETS. Shoutout zu MCETS. Waren schicken. Ich habe decided umzuziehen. Headphones. In der Früh trage ich, sag mal, nicht so Headphones, aber du will ich hören. And I make usually music reviews. Will ich hören the actual music, if you know what I'm saying. The maroon album, also 8:15, I would say. But toen I'm middag 8:15. Honestly, the setup from the podcast. The guys machen a podcast should have a better setup. But hey, wer fragt mir? Wus fragt 912, what? Okay. We'll keep an eye on 912. But he's not getting any love. He's not getting any love. I wonder why. He's not getting any love. Hope their podcast is fine. President Trump announces a 25% tariff on steel imports from Canada and Mexico, effective midnight tonight, citing national security concerns. Mach moves. Ja, geht nicht geht. Lass mich schmissen morgen. Schon gut werden morgen. The House passed a Dodge Act today, advancing President Trump's plan to streamline federal agency with a focus on reducing bureaucratic overlap. The Senate vote expected tomorrow. Okay. A mass shooting at Brooklyn Community Center left 4 dead and 7 injured this afternoon. This is in Brooklyn. Police are investigating it as a tragic attack, with no suspect in custody yet. Oy vey. Ich habe gesehen, hat der Report. They conjoined twins. So du am Meidl, was ist conjoined twins von der Stomach-ish herauf. Nicht echt. Ja, internally sind sie von 2 anderen Stomachs. Aber sie haben ein Body und 2 Cap. Sie haben gedacht, zu in College 2 extra Tuitions. Aber jetzt, wenn sie arbeiten, bekommen sie 1 Pay. Terrible. Weiß nicht, wieso man es bezahlt in College. 2. Well, sometimes life is not fair, I guess. Sometimes life's not fair. SpaceX successfully launched Starlink mission to Cape Canaveral, Florida. 6:45 p.m. on. Deploying 20 neue satellites. The company getting a shot of the SpaceX. Where's everybody today? I don't know. But Gang 98, you're enough. You're enough. And we have the right people right in front of us. Welcome, Gang 98. Gaan we naar 8:15 in een minuut erin. Russia had launched a hypersonic missile attack on Kiev this morning. Harget 12 mensen en geïnjured razik. Oei, wai. The Ukraine defense minister gezocht has reported intercepted 3 to 5 missiles. A passenger train derailed in Uttar Pradesh, India, killing 2 and injuring 20. Sam Lebo. Hello and welcome. How was your day? Rescue operation done in India guide food. And authorities suspect track tampering. Einige tampered mit the tracks. From the OG members. CC. Sam ich schon du for a while. Kann ich ja wegnehmen, so Style. Kann ich liken auf a pile. Alles geht's. Super freaking good evening, Viggy. Good evening to you as well, sir. Alles geht's. Ich kann euch von der Ranke mit dieser positive energy. Alright. What's news with Syria? Israel had supposedly gebombed, hebben we gezien. Some tanks and some stuff. In Syria is ook gedoe clashes. Syria is riesig. Yankee T. I'm sorry to hear. Hello Yankee. I'm sorry to hear. Thank you. MCTS had het geschickt. MCTS hat es geschickt für die Unboxing. S. Weiss. Hi. Hello and welcome. How are you? Okay. Jetzt gehen wir unheben, du. The Struggle Podcast. How much you drive a charge from BP to Florida? Not sure. Not sure. Weiß ich die Preisen Hand. Volvi. Hello and welcome, Volvi. How you doing? Scheint dir zu sehen. How was your day? Alright, jetzt gehen wir unheben, du. Von The Struggle Podcast mit Avi Fishoff. Guiding parents through rough teens. Tough teen years. 2 days ago, 1900 views. Not sure if I was the Struggle Podcast is not getting more, but I think it's just, I don't know. Ich will nicht sagen, weil ich weiß nicht. But it feels a bit like struggled himself. A gitte Nummer.
Over there, I cannot describe.
Do
nothing.
Kann ich the upcoming Sachen. As why sucht so geht. We'll judge it.
Okay, we have one special guest here tonight. His name is synonymous with courage and compassion. He dedicated his life to help parents in the world of stigma, in the world of teens who are struggling with addictions, rebellious teens who are disconnected.
First time you're seeing the struggle. Ich habe schon gesehen, ich habe schon gemacht eine Review auf der zweite von seinen Videos. Ich habe nicht lieb sein Setup. Don't like his setup. But it's mehr wie a show. So.
He is a lifeline to...
It's not their first podcast. I'm schon gehad du a Sachmenschen. But for some reason they're not getting picked up. The Oilem is not connecting with them, regardless of what they say.
The parent.
A starke Sache mit dem Autosetin mit the design. Wie ist es ausgestellt?
It is a great honor to welcome to the Struggle Podcast, Avi Fishoff.
Where's the applause?
Yes.
What an audience.
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to say that it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
And it's a chus to be here. And I was very impressed when you came all the way to Brooklyn to sit in on a group in the crisis center and to see hands-on.
You say I look better without a cap. There you go, alles geht's.
You know, what's going on, because not many people get to see it from the inside. And I saw that I'm dealing with someone who's a sincere person who wants to help Klal Yisrael, and that's why I felt that I had to say yes.
Thank you so much. And I got to say something about that, and then I'll come back to where I wanted to say. I am so grateful that you invited me to that. It's called Twisted Parenting Crisis Center. We'll talk about it, what that means later. But all I can say, that what I saw over there, I cannot describe it any more than Kol Nidre night. The tears flowing, what was going on over there was a case of a Monday night, one of a troubling teen who came back. And what you did is you got the parents, and I think you can find this on YouTube, on your channel.
Yeah, very courageous of him.
He
came, and his parents.
And his parents came. And what you wanted to display is two things. That your mahalach of twisted parenting works, and also how the courage that these parents have, and you wanted to encourage all the other parents, and also give chizik to the teens to know that there is a way back.
Teens and young adults.
Young adults, it's unbelievable.
Chizik is really for everybody.
Yeah, and what's unbelievable, what my takeaway, what I saw over there is, first of all, and we'll talk about the books you wrote that you're involved in, but the tefillas that I saw before and after is beyond me. Not only that, the parents were sitting over there, the spirituality in that room is beyond.
3 minutes in but noch ich gehet gune schon Avi. The ganze introductions, just
words, because the parents over there who knew the Tillim, who knew the names of this Baruch, and they also knew names of other ones.
Sure.
And everyone knows each other's names. And you're sitting over there leading the meeting, throwing out names. You know, there was a Rosh Hashiva once who was saying that he is, what a good Rosh Hashiva he is, and this and that. And he was asking one of his Mashgichim and Malamdim, do you know the name of the students? To daven for them. And what I experienced over there is, I've never seen this in my life, the way, and you also told me that most of the times you don't even know these teens. You don't
never meet the kids.
You never meet the kids. This is a chiddush that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
You're dealing with parents of how to do certain things, and that's it. When you get to meet a kid is when he comes back already.
Sometimes.
But sometimes you don't even meet.
There are many kids that are roaming around the world, several hundred, whose parents sat with me for sometimes years, and I held their hands, and they have no idea what the turn was, what caused it, that their parents all of a sudden understood them and helped them to heal, and many hundreds. And they'll never know, and that's fine.
And that is a tremendous chiddush, and that's what twisted parenting is all about. And it's kishmoi kain hi, because there is the so-called normal parenting, and then there is Avi Fishoff's twisted parenting. One thing I left with was very interesting.
There's the show. Honestly, they set up. That this turns off a lot of people.
Story, and I'm going to share it just to show what twisted parenting means. There was a lady over there that her daughter decided not to call her mommy. She didn't call her mommy. It was bothering her. It's just I'm your mommy. I'm not your. Don't call me by my name. And with time, the way you are, you're guiding these parents is buy them gifts and just be quiet, just swallow it. It's going to come around. It's going to change. At one point in time, she bought a gift to the daughter, and she wrote from Tati and her name. She didn't mention her name, mommy. That was the last time that this child called her by her name and called her mommy. So that was so touching. So it's unbelievable. So I have to thank you for that. It was worth everything in the world just to see that.
Yeah, it's psychology. It's not a joke, and it's not a game, and it's not an accident, and it's not magic. It's psychology. It's very pashut, and it comes from the Torah. And a lot of people, they hear like, what? You have to buy gifts. They don't understand. So they make things up like, oh, Avi says, be just whatever. I don't say anything. I have experience for a long time, and I see what works and what does not work. Mm-hmm. And we do things that work, like the Nova Mitzvah Rebbe, I have the video of him when he came to the parents, and he said, the main thing is this works. Yes. You have something that works, something that is guided by principles of Das Torah. Every family, people don't know, they think it's like Hefker. Somebody, I don't want to say which Rebbe, I met a Rebbe, someone brought me into him, and I went in, and he looks at me, and he goes like that, he says, you're Avi Fishoff? I thought you have a ponytail, and they think it's like the Avi says, everything's fine. No.
What? A ponytail is the draw the line, though? Huh? Oi, maybe it's time to get off from the ponytail, Viggy.
No, every family that comes to me, I think I'm the only one that requires this. Yeah. Their Das Torah, their highest level of Das Torah, has to write a letter sending them to me and agreeing to pass in any shilas, halacha, or even ashkafa. And each parent signs a shtar. They sign mamash a shtar. They're not going to implement any advice before checking with their Das Torah. Even, let's say, buying a television for a kid in his room, a kid who's depressed or whatever it is. It's different for people from Young Israel, people who are Balbatish, call it, and then you have Hasidish, you have Satmar and Kir Yisrael. So I can't tell a Kir Yisrael family to put in a big TV into their room. Right. It's not halacha shayla, really. It's hashkafa. Where you are, you have to know. So let's say in Satmar, both Satmar Rebbe sent to me, they pick a dayan. The dayan goes into the Rebbe. There's already set up a few dayanim that know me and that the Rebbe trusts, and they.
Met dit als uitzag van Noordem, wat je zei get. Van wat vangt men een seizoen revier koiden te maken? Why aren't they starting it when they're younger, when alles nog seems normal?
Right in the letter that this family came to me and they have this crisis, and I went to the Rebbe, and you'll see in the letters I give them out if anybody needs. It's easy to get bi'idudoi, with the brachasoi from all the Rebbes, that they sent. They said that they should go to you, and I will pass in any shilas on behalf of the Kehillah. And it works out very, 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 very well. Wow. I've never said anything. I've never gotten a no, because I know from my place that I went to.
Okay, alles gets beruhigt, okay? Okay.
I know the rules. But the main thing is, first of all, you have to have a mahalach that works. If you want to have a good kosher restaurant, first your chef got to make a good dish. Right. And then you have to make sure it's kosher. If you have kosher, but it's not good food, it has to work and has to be, and we triple check everything to make sure, because people say they have a Torah problem with what I'm doing, and they don't know the halacha, and they don't know the hashkafa.
And it's also very interesting the way you're like, I'm not doing anything. I mean, if you're letting this thing go, you're like, down to the bunch, talk to the bunch. Everything is going. It's not your own advice or your own thing. You let yourself into just what the Svurim write, and you're very much connected to Nesiv Shulam, right? You give Shirim and the Nesiv Shulam, and it's very interesting. You're the founder also of Home Sweet Home.
Right. What is Home Sweet Home? Was a living home, a home that people live in, kids live in, that I opened up in 2003. That's really what made this whole thing work. Most people who are speaking about kids at risk, they have their own, and it's very important. I'm one of the only few that, Baruch Hashem, Chazde Hashem, I didn't go through this problem, but I adopted basically into my life so many kids, and it wasn't a drop-in center. It wasn't a place where they can leave. It wasn't open.
It was an actual home.
It was a home. And I moved kids in 365 days a year.
And they couldn't live in the house, in their home.
Kids who were homeless, and kids who couldn't live at home, and kids who were doing all kinds of bad stuff. Kids who had mental illness diagnosis. Kids who were thrown out of rehabs. Kids who were stealing. Kids who were. One kid was living in a truck, in an empty truck he found in a Walmart. Kid from this neighborhood that you're in.
Wow.
And really tough cases.
How did you get involved? What
we need a separate podcast for each thing. How did I get involved is a separate story. Home Sweet Home, which was open from 2003 till 2014, is another story. In 2009, I was running Home Sweet Home. I mean, I wasn't getting paid. I supported it, and I raised money from other people for it. I didn't take any salary, and I was running it myself. And I had a bunch of volunteers that were amazing to take the guys out at night, but I was the whole staff. It was the entire staff. And then in 2009, parents, which is another story how that happened, parents started reaching out to me. And I said, I don't work with parents. I love these kids. Send me your kid. Boys, not girls, but boys. And the parents started begging me one after another without knowing each other. It's a whole other podcast. It's just unbelievable.
That's when Twisted Parenting was created?
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
And after I had 30 or 40 parents come...
Ich meine, als ob es eine Arbeit sie geht, darf man change the name from Twisted Parenting to just Parenting.
To me like every week, and I would be like, wow, I sat with these people for 5 hours in a row, 8 hours in a row. And I realized that what to me was pashut, right? To them was big chedushim.
Right. This was common sense to you.
To me, it was so common sense that no, that's not going to help him. No, you want to stop him? Doing that is not going to stop him. And they would be like, yeah, you're right. And they would say like, but I wanted this and that. I'd say, okay, did you ever try that before? Right. Yes. How many times? 100. I said, that can't work. For this kid, it can't work. And I worked with them, and they saw success.
Right.
And I saw that this is steamrolling, and I realized that instead of helping 4, 5, 6 kids a year living in Home Sweet Home, I could help 50, 60, 70 kids.
If you're going to teach
the parents how to make their home sweet.
That's unbelievable.
I teach them what I learned. It's probably the biggest crisis in Klal Yisrael, one of them, and everybody's missing the piece that heals.
Wow.
So there's so many other organizations doing wonderful things that the parents who come to me don't need. My friend is the head of Shomrim in Flap.
Es weiß, weil ein Kind macht nicht Noise, meint nicht, als ist okay. Ich meine, ich like sie zu dem Point. Man darf unheimlich, wenn man ist jünger. Man darf schon geben Parenting-Advice, für Chevre, was haben noch keine Kinder. Sollen schon unheimlich arbeiten, vor dem. Warum wartet man bis im So, wenn wohnt schon in einer Truck behind Walmart?
Bush. They have 20 Shomrim guys that are trained specialists in domestic violence. And most of it is parents fighting with their teenagers.
Unbelievable.
I asked them, you ever got a call from a TP parent? Nope. I never felt that we needed to send a kid out of the house, even kids who everybody else said you got to throw them out, because the advice that the family gets was escalating the situation.
Right.
So imagine someone has 99.8 fever, and then they have 103 fever. They go to the doctor, they have 101 fever. The doctor gives a medicine that causes 102 fever, causes 103 fever. They give you more of the same medicine, causes 105 fever, and they say, sorry, we can't help you. The advice that the parents were getting consistently.
Sometimes from family members.
No, even professionals, even Rabbanim, well-meaning people, but it escalated the situation much worse than if you would have just done nothing. Wow. And then they have such a crazy situation, you got to throw them out. But what I do with the parents, I de-escalate the situation.
Right.
And that's why we have no homeless kids. All of our kids are living at home or welcome at home. There's a few percent that moved out already or whatever. And when you don't have to feel homeless, you saved already in that person's life. Wow. You save suicide, Rahman al-Islan, and overdose, Rahman al-Islan. We don't have, we never had a suicide. We never had a suicide from dealing with hundreds and hundreds of kids who are suicidal, really suicidal. Kids who have severe eating disorders that get healed. Kids who were stealing, who were selling drugs. We don't have any kids in jail. I was at an Aguda convention, and a Rav came over to me in the hallway. We were walking, and he says, Avi, who's your connection at the DA's office? I said, I'm sorry, I don't know anybody at the DA's office. He goes, what?
That's impossible.
He says, what do you mean? Which policeman do you know? Which they? So I said, I'm sorry, I don't know. So he mamish stopped me, and he says, everybody knows you have the biggest workload.
Yeah.
Which is true, because most people have 35, 45, whatever. I have a much larger work caseload.
And shouldn't that be like a sign as episodes up, as that riesige casework?
What does that mean? I deal with violence. I deal with kids who put a knife at their father's neck.
Ooh.
I said, I never had a kid. I don't have any kid in the jail system. And if Chas v'Shalom, the kid has a problem, so they call a local lawyer. It happens very, very rare. When your parents are your best friends, and you feel beloved, you feel it. Why would you take a knife out to your father, to your mother? The only reason that all this craziness happens is because the kids feel that these people hate me. These people are judging me.
There's a certain distance between.
Major distance. I ask people, what's your relationship with your kid? That's one in the intake calls that I have.
Right.
And it's very low. So yeah, if your relationship with your mommy and your daddy is so low, even puppies know that they have a mama dog and a papa dog to take care of them. Sure. And over here they lose that. And why do they lose that? Because these kids are doing crazy things. So it's very easy to lose. So we do the opposite and have so many parents, like this family that you were talking about, and they have number 4 kids off the derech, two with major eating disorders, pikuach nefesh, mamish, and all the other stuff, drugs and the whole thing. And they're crying because they're saying, we had peace in our home. I could show you the text that they sent me after being by me not even a month. They said, this Shabbos is the first time in 5 years all of our children were at the Shabbos table.
That is nuts.
Calm.
Okay, so what is on tricks?
And happy. This one is sick. She has an eating disorder. But, there was a time they locked the girl out of the house because they were instructed, if you're going to have an eating disorder, if you're not going to eat.
Not here.
Right. I'm not going to give you money to.
So stupid. So, in Drosten auf dem Gas, het is een bessere eating disorder. Stop nemen advice van mensen. Weil dan friend, meint nicht, dass can't give me advice.
And they cut the kid off and she was homeless. It's literally like going to someone with cancer and saying, if you're not going to stop having cancer, not in this house. And I'm like, this is a sickness. Plus, in addition for the calm and the peace, calming down the kid, even if it's not a solution to the machla, this is how we take care of sick people.
Yeah.
We don't get angry at them. These kids, today I was on the phone with someone from Argentina. Before coming to me, they would hit their child, physically hit their child out of frustration, hit him. The mother would come in the morning or the father at morning, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, pull the blanket out. And now they're only by me maybe 2 months. They sent me now, I could show you a picture afterwards. I wish I could show everybody. A picture of him at the table and his head's like on the table. And she says, we never looked at him as sick. Now that everybody is rallying around him and taking care of him, we see how sick he's sick. Like you're beating up someone who's sick. So most of the spiral gets pushed down by parents being told.
Zeg, the word spiral darf man ein bisschen mehr herankicken. Because once etwas geschehen und du bist auf der Spiral, ist es sehr schwer zu stoppen. Es ist sehr schwer sich zu kappen, als man auf der Spiral.
You have to have rules and consequences and boundaries and not in your house and da-da-da-da-da-da. It makes the kid much worse.
Yeah.
Push it. Why? Because it's usually trauma and it makes you feel like worthless and like nothing. And then when you express yourself in a bad way, and then they pull away their love and their affection, their attention, it adds years of pain to them. It adds years. I have no homeless kids. We lost, and I always say it because it's not a perfect world, but we lost a handful of kids to accidental overdose.
Yeah.
Rahman al-Islan. Some of I would love to say they were the worst. They didn't listen. The best parents. And on their own, each one did something very unique. With the first one, they did they published a documentary about twisted parenting out of their Akarsatayv.
Right.
I didn't ask them to do it. I didn't know about it. It was a surprise. And they said we didn't have the ending that we wanted, but we had the journey. We had 6 years of love, just like a cancer patient. They may not make it, but they had love. The night before she passed away, because there was a bad batch of heroin that killed 10 people, and she was one of them. The night before, she was snuggling in bed with her mother, with her father. She was very sick. She wasn't making a stupid choice to do what she did. She was a wonderful girl, wonderful, precious neshamala, precious parents, amazing people. And then the second one also, they each did things because the second and the third one they did by me. They came to speak to the parents and they did videos. But besides for that, it's not even 1% who's dealing with hardcore drug abuse and eating disorders and suicidal ideation and all of these things.
Yeah.
That's even close to a 99% success rate. Now, it's not so rosy because we do have some parents that drop out because it is hard. It's difficult.
Now, those parents who drop out is they can't take this.
I don't know. I have about a 20% dropout rate. Well, whoever's coming to me already tried everything else.
Correct.
There are some that are saying, like, because the world is changing. They're like, why would I try everything else and end up by you? Let me just do this. Probieren mit Gittens.
Right.
But most people already tried things. They have to come to a kind of like they have to hit rock bottom sometimes, especially if the parents are very controlling. Mm-hmm. I had a family from Muncie. It was such an edel of people. They never fought with their kid. They came to me to find out what to do, but they never fought with their kid. Right. Their kid was much easier situation. Kid wasn't from. Okay, in order to get into me, I only work with kids who are not from. Mm-hmm. If they have other things, then I deal with that also. But even if it's not from, I'll try to help the parents. But they never fought with their kid, and they said, like, what are you going to teach us? We love our kid. We take care of him. We're not fighting. They didn't know the secrets. And Mamish, within a short time, he told his parents. He told his mother. He said, Ma, I used to feel like I'm living in a hotel, and now I feel like I have a family. Mm-hmm. Everybody was nice to him. Good morning, Mr.
You've been hoarse. No. I'm okay.
Goldberg.
But there was no.
But they didn't understand him.
There's no warmth. Yeah.
The kamayim upon him.
Du Menschen haben riesige Scheine, herrliche Haser, but sie nicht home. Sie nicht home. Die Menschen, was machen als Sachgeld im Boot, scheine riesige Marble, but it's a train station. Es ist a house. They bauen a home. Ich bin heiserig? No. Not that I know of.
Was not that I understand you and you're suffering and I'm with you and I got your back and I understand you and I'm sitting by the bedside while you have IV inside you and you're sick and I'm here for you. Believe in Nefesh, and I understand. So many parents are not trained to understand their kid. The kid feels like nobody understands me.
Right.
Now, what's interesting is that in physical illness, Klal Yisrael is the best.
Yeah.
Best chesed out there.
We are match made in heaven,
Yeah.
Yiddish people and physical illness.
Right.
We will get you the best doctor. There's no such thing as a mother saying, oh, I didn't realize that I can't make you this and you're allergic. Or I didn't realize that you have Crohn's disease by accident. I didn't realize. No. Physical illness, we will read everything. We'll become professional.
Everything.
Chesed involved also. But the parents would never make a mistake. Would never make a mistake. They would learn about the disease. Comes over here, a new disease called emotional pain. The parents are sitting with the patient and they don't understand the patient. So they think all of a sudden.
En usually is mistaan, weil zij hebben ook het mental cases. Zij hebben ook het mental issues that they never worked out. Maybe they're living with it, but, they can't understand. En ze doen mensen wo ze leven anders met dezelfde disease, laat maar eens riefen. People could move on. Niet jeder could move on. Niet jeder speelt dus zoals dezelfde week.
It's teenagehood, or he's lazy, she's a late bloomer, she's a late, they have all these kind of words, and they start pushing and threatening, and then it pushes the kid, makes the kid worse. And then they start getting worse and angry and aufgeregt and all of these things. It can't help. It can't help. And when it comes to emotional pain and trauma, Klal Yisrael is behind because we didn't know about this when we were kids.
Right.
But when I was a kid, nobody asked me, how does this make you feel?
Well, of course not.
We weren't entitled to emotions.
Right.
We weren't entitled to have emotional pain.
Yeah.
And I don't know what changed, why, I don't know how, what, where. I could just tell you there's a tremendous amount of people in real suffering and pain, all ages, suffering. And you'll say, vus. Our grandparents would say, vus, you have food, yeah, haspanusa, yeah, right? You have food on the table, you have a family, some of them are married even, you're happy. What? What? Depression? Get out of here. Like they couldn't understand. Anxiety?
Right. They would not.
Come on, everybody says, I'm also getting.
We kunnen zich explainen gaan. En me schämt zich damit, exactly, like you're saying. Me schämt zich, Me kijkt dus een blanket. Mental illness equals cuckoo. So, jeder wil zich zijn normaal.
Down sometimes. They don't understand because it's not anybody's fault. It didn't exist.
Right.
Certainly not.
It did exist, but life is gewoon zo schwer that they couldn't pay attention to it. Life is so good as the kleine problems wird größer problems.
Now, but people who are intelligent, are learning about trauma and abuse and learning about symptoms.
It's a tremendous gift. What you're doing with Twisted Parenting is a matuna min hashamayim. Unbelievable. But what is the definition, in short, of a good parent?
That's the question. That's an excellent question. So there are so many different parts of this.
Wie ze hier zeggen is, dat een kind dat wissen, at all times, als hat a backbone, kan beginnen, fragen, machen, tun, always. As hat a tata mama in the home. There's no consequences of fragen a question. This is my opinion. Shia, thank you so much, Shia. Hello and welcome. Thank you.
The first thing, Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein, Shlita, the head of the Litvish Welt, and Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein is diamond. So he says, Echad mi yisaydes hachinuch shel deirenu. One of the fundamental principles of chinuch in our dar is to know loy lekalkel. Do not damage.
Yankee, life is good and people make it sound like shit. Not true. Weil Leben is so geht, is kleinere Sachen mehr problematic. In so schnell geregt, wenn just oben food mit der Hose, and this is all good, see emotional issues. And so geskippt that dort.
He says, therefore,
It's been a while, yes, but welcome. Thank you.
There are many times where the answer, where the response of the parent to a problem, to misbehavior, is sheva al tasa, is do nothing, just to make sure that you're not going to damage nefesh hayeled.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us, when we grew up, nobody thought about nefesh hayeled. Get out of here, call me names, smack, go home, get a smack, go to your room. And it was pretty much okay. Yeah. Did it do damage? Yes. Some people damage? Yes. But nobody died because of it. Probably. In our generation.
It's a different world.
Yeah, but you know who says it's a different world? People think, the therapists and the young people. No, the Zakanim. All the Zakanim, anybody over 90, Rebbaran Leibs, that's all. The Satmar Rebbe, all of the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
They saw that this is
they are the ones. Rebbe Yashiv said.
In Zamgunish Getin, they saw and they didn't do anything?
Nobody's arguing with Rebbe Yashiv. And, Pesach. Right. You ever see a picture of him with a big smile? I never saw. The most serious. And he said, in our dar, there is no small doiche. Right? The Gemara says, "Lo'olam yehi yamin mekareves u'smal doicha." The yamin, you're right, which is the stronger arm, should pull in, and sometimes you push away.
Yeah.
He says, not anymore. I didn't say that. You didn't say that. Therapist didn't say. Rabbi Yashiv. And I have it from two Makaris. It was written by his Talmud, Ramesha Yizdi, and also his grandson, who came to my crisis center. I have it on video. He told it to him. He told us. He says, "But what if the kid does something really really crazy wrong? What should you do?" So Rabbi Yashiv thought, and he said, maybe one time in 70 years you should do small doicha, and then go right back to him in the karemes. What does that mean? If you don't have small doicha, you don't criticize, you don't punish. Everybody's going to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
No, the way to be mechanech kids, you can hold them.
Kinder willen 10 Sachen, was willen attention. The guys that nicht geben the attention the normale Weg, they're going to do some crazy stuff to get attention. But man wird auch het älter. Sie 10 crazy Sachen. So, there are serious consequences. You better give attention.
To motivate them with Yamin Mekarevis, but it has to be different. Like we don't have to say patch anymore, you need to say hugs.
Yeah.
So Rabbi Yashiv said it. Tlabab Shabbat said, Yibadal Chaim, Shmuel Kamenetsky, who's been holding my hand since the first minute when I decided to open Home Sweet Home.
Wow.
I called him to be my Das Torah. Shmuel ben Ita Etel is a Zakin, and he should have Refuah Shalem and Erichas Yamim, and Klal Yisrael needs him. He's a Zakin. And he said, I have a video, he said, there is nothing that a patch could do that a hug cannot do.
Yeah.
100-year-old.
Take notes.
At that time, he was 95-year-old, was talking about hugs. Yes, the Zakanim understood our children better than the middle of the road people, 50, 60, 70, 80. The old Zakanim all said, no busha in Halavi Mavayish. Do you know that according to authentic Torah, authentic chinuch, you're not allowed to pressure a child? I was like, what? Look at Rav Gershon Edelstein's Zatzal. He didn't make this up. This comes from the Chazon Ish. This is Torah. He's an old man, Rosh Hashiva Panam B'nei Brak, and he says, also to pressure, lachatz is bad. The Baba Veruv, Reb Shlomo, Zatzal, gezwingene Sachen, teugen nicht. The Pnei Menachem of Ger, things that are you squeezing and pressure, they have a reverse effect. Reb Chaim Kanievsky Zatzal said, I know people, he said.
Yeah.
I don't know why, Chaim. I don't know why they don't know it and why they don't implement it.
That can't daven, because when they were young, they weren't emotionally prepared, ready to daven, and their father forced them to daven. When you force someone to do something, it creates...
Turn them away.
Yeah, they get disgusted from it.
Right.
They get disgusted. Reb Chaim Kanievsky writes that. And he says many times, it's because the parents are tzaddikim, and davening to them, they're mamish able to plug in, and they can't stand. They're not always crazy people, bad, angry.
Yeah, no,
sometimes I once sat next to a guy, I had to move away. I couldn't take it. He was destroying his children. No. I was going crazy. I was like, these kids, there's no chance for them. I wanted to just kidnap them because he's going to kill them.
Yeah.
Ja, I so feel that, wenn die siehst, dass zweiter Tit etwas, und die weiß für a fact, dass sind wrong, but die kennst sich gar nicht stehen, because sie nicht deine Kinder. That's sad.
But even if it's because you're a malach and a tzaddik, and you're like, how could you not daven? Come on, look inside, you're talking to Hashem, all the speeches.
Right.
They look around shul, they know, the Pnei Menachem, the Ger Rebbe, that's all. He had an einikel. His son was killed, Nebuch, and he was raising his einikel. His einikel wasn't interested in davening. So some people tried to and in Ger, I don't know if you were ever there, it's very hard to not daven. You hardly have any space, and it's very, it's always a big crowd. Not like now, but it was big then also. And he said, no. Davening, you have to come to on your own.
You have to feel it and you have to want it.
Yeah, what is it? They don't even need anything. They don't. As soon as you need something, you'll daven. He said, give him time. He'll daven. You want him to daven? Said the Pnei Menachem. He told the father, you want your son to daven? You daven.
Yes.
If you grow up next to a father that doesn't talk during davening, that doesn't shmooze, he's not in the Kiddush club, and he's going like this, and he's connecting, and he's really talking to God, and he feels better afterwards. He says, I was so nervous. I'm going to go daven. My Abby comes back. I feel calm. It was my meditation. We have to go to meditate and do stuff to connect to a higher power, to calm down our anxiety. Daven.
You can do it, yeah.
Daven.
Talk to the bunch.
If you can do that, right, your kid's going to daven.
Unless
you ruin it.
It just penetrates the kids. They see it. Now, what would you say?
Kinder tien, wo sie sehen, not what they're told, to be honest.
Chinuch is showing them the right way to live.
Teach by example.
And not getting upset that they can't do it now. Believe and her, I'm very lucky, and I don't want to talk about myself as everyone do this, but I never got angry at my kids.
Mm-hmm.
They spoke about like Sheva Brachas, but they said, never got angry. Because I don't think I'm better than them. Like, a lot of times parents are so shocked when the kids are doing something wrong. I'm like, you never did anything wrong?
Right.
I had one of my kids walked into the pool with his friend. I was in the pool with my friend. So these are our sons.
Yeah.
And his son had like long hair. It was in the summer, and he was wearing like a bracelet, but not a real bracelet, a High Lifeline or a one of these things. And he was like, he's a cool kid. And the father next to me, he says, he's trying, I want to kill this kid. He's take a haircut. What's he doing? Whatever. And I knew this guy growing up. And I said to him, your hair was 4 times as long as this kid. Like you forgot what you look like? You have amnesia? Everybody all of a sudden doesn't remember that you didn't want to...
Ja, einmal so gehen. Sein Schwager, der geworden Film auf der Elter. Und die Kinder wachsen auf. Und geworden jetzt der ganze Frimmer in der Family. Und sagt mich, verstehe nicht. Ich denke, wenn ich bin gewesen mit dir in Florida, ich denke, wo die ausgeht hin. Menschen vergessen. Sie acten, wie sie vergessen. Sie sich meuchel da Virus und jeder misst mitjumpen mit seinen Hoops.
Daven, and that you came late
Well.
and you weren't interested and you spaced out and everybody's so ungezogen and anxiety on the kids. Chill.
Right.
Chill. The worst thing is lachatz.
Yeah. And what about the parents who say that they don't want to be so friendly with the kids because they want, I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
There's a certain balance that
Yeah, we grew up. Parents would say, it doesn't say anywhere you have to like your father. It says kabed.
Yeah.
I would tell them to look at the Chavetz Chaim. And I don't think we need to be frummer or better than the Chavetz Chaim. The Chavetz Chaim's children, they write about what it was like growing up in the house of the Chavetz Chaim. He says he never ever made them have any pressure. He never ever made them scared.
Yeah.
There was no Myra.
There was no Myra there.
There was no Myra. All these mothers or fathers screaming, yelling, you.
Usually, als die bist a emisser in die lexisch kan pressure, deine Kinder wollen choosen, nicht zu tun etwas, weil sie willen dich nicht weithin. Es ist a certain Jira. Es ist nicht moire, weil ich hab ein Patch. Ich will nicht mehr zahlen an meinen Eltern.
Wasting your breath.
Right.
Okay?
You
You're
don't
using your
sound
might,
like that.
your strength. You don't raise kids like that. The Chavetz Chaim didn't sit at the head of the table. The Chavetz Chaim let his kids sit in his chair. The Chavetz Chaim goes on and on to talk about he was raised, he says he talked to us like a friend.
Wow. That's next level.
It's common sense. I don't know, I think
Er sagt, dass wir common sense.
we think that it's goyish. We think that the father is a tata, it doesn't work anyway. Nobody
So wie du der Gevre, wir sind jetzt Tatas, in sein echten Tata. Ich bin mit sei auf einer WhatsApp-Gruppe, ich sehe pinklich, wo sie schicken herim, wieso sie acten, wieso sie gehen in Schwitz, aber Freitag zur Nacht acten sie wie Tati.
falling for that anymore. Those days are gone.
Right.
And if we try to raise our kids the way we grew up, we'll have broken children. For whatever reason, it doesn't work. But it's not authentic Torah. It's like trauma parenting. It's abusive parenting. It's not. You know that you're mechuyev to treat a child with the same laws of respect and human dignity as an adult.
Yeah.
Chazon Ish paskins. Chazon Ish wouldn't wake up a kid who was sleeping in a place and they went to daven vasikin in the room. He wouldn't let them wake him up.
Yeah.
You don't wake up somebody.
Yeah.
Then Nesiv Shalom says, you're not allowed to tell a kid. And again, when I'm quoting all of these things, think about who they were. They were born before the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Okay? They were born before the Holocaust. They know better what Hashem expects from parents and what a Torah parent should be. Nesiv Shalom says, you're not allowed to tell a kid, say menacheder. Go out of the room.
Right.
What? You know how many times we were told, go out of the room?
Yeah.
Somebody was like, get out of the room.
Right.
Leave the room. You don't talk to a child.
Disrespectful.
Disrespecting a child. Disrespect a child.
Yeah.
Where is this from? Nesiv Shalom, Slonim Rebbe, who was born before the war and he survived the war and rebuilt Slonim. He was considered the mechanech of the generation.
Yeah.
Shalom Noyach is his name, is my own. The Gematria Chanech Lenar.
Wow.
And he was considered by all of Das Torah of the previous generation as the master mechanech, especially. He wrote a beautiful sefer, short, and I highly recommend it. It's just a few chapters. Nesivei Chinuch. Beautiful. It's in English also. It's so good. It gives you your mind of what you're doing here with this kid.
Right.
What are you meant to do? You meant to threaten the kid? So he says, you're not allowed to say, leave the room. You have to say, go to the other room.
I saw someplace that it goes on the children too.
All dinim of
There's no reason.
I was just talking to a parent. I said, what's interesting? If anybody would treat an adult this way, a Rav would treat an adult this way, he would leave.
Yeah. It wouldn't last a minute.
And somehow we think that because they're kids, that's what they need. No. Kids are little people. They have a nefesh.
Right.
They have an emotion. And if they sit there, I see sometimes parents talking to kids, and the kid,
Petrified.
yeah, imagine you being petrified. And here they're growing, they're maturing. It's like a young tree that gets a little bent. It's going to go all the way crooked.
Yeah, it's not going to help for the future.
Do not damage nefesh hayeled. Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein.
Amazing.
Loy lekalkel nefesh hayeled. You don't know what to do? What should I do? I shouldn't do anything?
Do nothing.
Do nothing. A guy gets hit by a car and he's lying in the street. You want to go pick him up.
Yeah.
What does everybody say? No. You might damage him. He might become chalila paralyzed. I should just stand there? Yeah, you should. I had a parent say, I should do nothing? I said, well, if your two choices are to do something that could damage your child or to do nothing, which one do you want to choose? Like, who says you have to react?
Right.
You also, what I tell parents is when you're stuck,
Auch het reacten in is geht. Nehmen action is a zweite Sache. Du hast es durchgetracht. Man pickt a Weg. A reaction is just dein eigene Ego.
you're allowed to say, I don't know right now how to respond to this. I just know that I love you. And we will get through this.
Yeah.
Now, the next day, 2 days later, a week later, you call it, he'll be makabel it more. They will respect the fact that you have a misunim badim. Relax. Anything you do in that mode, first of all, anything you overdo is for sure not good. We're all going to make mistakes when we're aufgeregt. How do you say that in English?
Angry.
Yeah, but it's different.
Yeah. Keep that aufgeregt.
Aufgeregt is aufgeregt.
Yeah.
Litvaks can't. We're Americans. They just get angry. Angry now. Aufgeregt.
Aufgeregt.
When your blood pressure is high and you right now want to murder this kid, you're going to make a mistake. You're allowed to say all punishments in this house will be given out, distributed 3 days after the crime. And guess what? They will respect it more. You could also give choices. For one kid, going up early to bed is gewaltig.
Yeah.
I'll go up half an hour early. I like reading to another kid.
It's devastating.
It's Gehenna.
Yeah.
It's not fair. You're allowed to say, what do you think you should get for this? It's not so terrible, but what punishment did you? Would you want me to take away Nash? One kid will say, take away my Nash. Another kid will say, like, no, because he gives Nash to a friend, to be friend with him, to play with him. You don't know what's going on in his world.
Right.
What do you care which punishment it is? Give choices. Treat him like a man. She treat the...
That's very interesting. Die lässt der Kind picken sein eigener, wie heißt das, sein eigener Punishment. Ist auch der Sache mehr makabel, weil pickt es. He's picking it. Rather we just bekommen aber fail von König.
Kid like a mensch. I'm talking about 5 years old, 6 years old, 7. They feel like you want them to feel. My parents care about me.
Right.
And they're being mechanech me.
Right.
Then you could decide, listen, should we do this? Should we do that? You know what? I really love you. I want you to, I feel bad. So how about you'll help me, whatever. Or how about you come up with a way.
Yeah.
You know what the nikud is? The way that we treat our children is the way Hashem treats us.
Yeah, wow.
It's very scary. It's very scary. It's brought down in the Sfarim that Hashem Tzilcha, Baal Shem Tov says, Hashem is our shadow. Just like here you see a shadow from the light, I control the shadow. We control Hashem.
Wow.
If we have kindness, Hashem gives us kindness.
Yeah, this is in the entire life.
In the entire life. And especially the way that parents
treat their children
is the way Hashem treats his children, which is you. 2 people could do the same thing, and one by Yom Kippur has rachamim, and the other one has din. That's what it says in the Svarim HaKadoshim. You're writing your own destiny. You're writing your own din Torah. Everybody's worried the kid's going to take advantage of me. How would you like it? If Hashem's going to be good to you now, you're going to take advantage of him? No. You want to be treated a certain way. Raise your kid. I don't think that anybody realizes that kids who are brought up, not with a shmata, not like, I'm a shmata to you and you have to bow to you, and not with spoiling, which we could talk about, but a kid who's brought up with kindness, nobody ever lost that kid.
No.
I'm not talking about a car accident or a trauma accident. I'm talking about that if they're alive and everything is fine, they're going to be wonderful people. They're going to love you. I always say, remember, parents, if all goes according to plan, one day they're going to be speaking at your funeral and you're going to be stuck there. You need to listen to it. So give them a good speech.
Right. Now, you mentioned before difficult parents, where, there's all kinds of, we're walking out of your crisis center as well. They get frustrated and tired. Now, there's a lot of talk about parents who choose their children. They choose between one and the other, and that builds animosity between the kids, sibling rivalry, and the jealousy and envy. Now, what is your take on how a parent in prevention, sitting at the Shabbos table, how important is that for children not to feel one more or less than the other?
I mean, there are certain things that everybody agrees is horrible. That's one of them. Every child is a soul. It's a nefesh. It's going to be an adult one day.
Yeah.
And we can't do anything that's obvious that it's horrible. Even though one kid could just be lechtig and behaves well and listens well. Yeah. And it's just a pleasure. Some kids just behave. They come home, they do their homework, they take their bath, they come to you, say, bring over your thing from school. They bring it and they say it and they're cute. And the other kids just struggle.
Yeah. And it's the struggle is for the parents not to pick and choose. The kids like
struggle to realize that kid needs more.
Correct. Usually it works that way.
Needs more love, needs more patience. And for sure, every kid is required to feel that they're the favorite. If somebody grows up knowing he's not, you're damaging his life. It's very hard. It's challenging. I really, my hat goes off to people, who have struggling kids or difficult kids. It's very hard to be a parent. Today, in our generation, being a parent requires so much more time, money, and effort than our parents. I was driving the Rav of my shul when I grew up, in the Rebbe Shlitel's Zangazint, in Shlomo Leifer in Borough Park. Grew up in Forest Hills. He was the roof. I asked him 50 years ago, 60 years ago. He's a Talmud of a Baron Kotler. He's very chushiv. I said, my father, all the other people there, how many times did they come talking to the roof about my children, and I don't know what to do, and this and that, and he's going to therapy, and I'm taking him here, and it's costing me this and that. He was laughing.
Never.
Even people had bad trouble. It was today there are parents that spend time, money, effort on kids, running to therapists and running to occupational therapists and and trying to help their kid and getting tutors and spending money. The amount, especially in crisis, like I was just telling parents this week, I said, you spend more time, money, and effort on your kid than raising 20 kids.
Right.
Once a kid is in crisis. And even regular kids, it's so much more work.
Yeah.
It's so much more work. And because the kids today have feelings.
Yeah.
This is very hard.
This is a whole new level of parenting.
Feelings. Oh my gosh. Now you have to worry how you say it. And if he says it, and if he goes like that, you're worried. And it's real. Right. And the tzaddikim always said, the older tzaddikim, Zakanim, always said, yes, beware of children's feelings.
But interessant, so nicht aufgesetzt, anything better. Wo haben sie nicht aufgesetzt, so gewiss? Wo haben sie es nicht mehr herangedrillt? Wo hat man es jetzt das erste Mal?
Don't take it for granted. How did they know 40, 50 years ago how delicate and weak our emotional system will be in our dar to give this instruction? It's unbelievable.
How would you explain to a parent who did their job 250%? They really,
that's a lot of percent.
That's a lot of percent. And they did it the best to their abilities. And it did not turn out the way they wanted.
Happens all the time.
Happens all the time. Why would they feel like failures? Why do they blame themselves? Why is it a report card of your work?
It's a very painful thing. Most parents come to me are the most wonderful people in the world.
Correct.
I don't know why the very dysfunctional people don't come to me. Maybe they're so dysfunctional, they don't know how to reach out to me, or they don't know how to dial a number. I don't know
What
why.
you're saying is you're seeing tzaddikim.
Tzaddikim mamish.
Tzaddikim Geminim.
And many of them have, 8 amazing kids and one problem. So if they were horrible people, they wouldn't have one problem.
Right.
And even the ones who have multiples, they're so good. So Rav Koppelman, who was Zatzal, who was a tzaddik of the last generation, he had a Talmud named Rabbi Yoman Eisenberger. Rabbi Yoman is I can't call him a friend because he's a gadol. He really is.
Yeah.
He's tremendous gadlus in him. He came to my group several times. We were very close. Baruch Hashem, I'm very fortunate to be so close to him. He's in my opinion, I hardly ever, I don't want to say anything bad about anybody else, but he's such a wise person. But besides for that, he's a leader. He takes a chrayas. He's a leader. He's a manig. And he came in it's on video, people can look it up on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, social media. A lot of stuff on there. Thousands of clips. And he said that Rav Koppelman said that no parent should feel that they're getting a bad behavior in the kid is because of their bad parenting. Mm. We have no idea why Hashem does this, and you should never feel guilty. The biggest tzaddikim had kids who went off the derech. Oh, Avram, Yishmael, Yitzchak, and Esav.
Right.
Moshe Rabbeinu. The Gemara talks about his Einukal. How about the Zayar Kodesh? The Zayar Kodesh had a son, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, who was in the cave with him. Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, the Gemara says, had a son who did the worst sins. I'm not going to get into it. The worst. How is that even possible? By the way, how did Rebbe went to find him, and he brought him back to Yiddishkeit.
No.
How did he do it? So we would think he tells him, "Do you know who your father was? Do you know who your grandfather was? You shaita, you shagets, you lowlife, he shagets the moon, shagets the moop." No. Asmachia beRebbe. As soon as he met him, he gave him smicha. You're a Rebbe. Rashi says, in order that he should realize what I could be, and I should decide to be good.
He brought him up.
It's a smicha program. Either you go 4 years to learn smicha, or you go off the derech for 4 years and you do who knows what. And he's smachia beRebbe. What do you mean Rebbe? He's Machal Shabbos. He did the worst things. You fix the problem. It's a self-esteem issue. I don't know what happened to him, and this is not twisted parenting in our dar. This is in the Gemara's Beferish Gemara. He called him right away Rebbe. By the way, Rabbi Yehuda Anasi was called Rebbe. Yeah. Why? Because of his level of kedusha that was so high that they called him the word Rebbe more than any other Tana, and that's what he called this shegets, whatever you want to call it. That's what he called him. Yeah. He didn't asmachia b'shegets. He said, "You could have my title. You could have my title of Rebbe." It's unbelievable.
So what you're saying, failure has no place over here.
No, unless if the parents made mistakes that are abusive, and I always say, I hope you did, because it's the easiest way to fix the problem is if the person who hurt the child is here, and I can help you to fix the past.
We mend the problem.
Yeah, that's the best thing, but it's very, very rare. It's almost always something that happens to the child that the parents do not know about, don't know how to deal, don't understand it, don't see it, and then. Yes, when the spiral starts, most parents are going to make mistakes. Right. That could even be abusive, but that's the spiral already started, and that's easy to fix also. But once the spiral starts, and you see that at that point, it could be a slow spiral, or it can be a fast one all the way down, and the number one thing that causes the explosion of the spiral to make it 1,000,000 times worse is the way the parents deal with it. Out of love. They love this kid so much. Please don't drive down the street the wrong way. Please don't go down this, dropping out of school, sleeping all day, smoking weed. It's terrible. They love the kid. Maybe it's mixed in some personal emotions. Okay, we're human, but they really do mean the kid. And they try to stop it and lock the door and close the door. And I'm not going to give you money and fight and argue out of love. We have to be very, very, very strong and able and humble and to hold ourselves and to realize right now this car is sailing through stop signs and red lights. It's very dangerous. But every time we hit the brake, it spins like black ice. Yeah. If you're driving a van with your family, with somebody out there, and you hit black ice, if you touch that brake, it's going to be a lot worse than if you just hit something. As bad as it is, you start spinning, you can kill 50 people. Once a kid is spinning, feels, and they sense, not love, because they don't understand that. Like, my father doesn't like me. Yeah. My mother doesn't like me. It's a death sentence. Yeah. A friend of mine who was a struggling soul, full of tattoos to show it. He went through such pain. Nobody should ever go through such pain. He was suffering so much. He would wake up in the middle of the night, sweat from nightmares. He lived in an apartment, the next door, sometimes they would come knocking, "Are you okay?" From the screams. Wow. Tried to kill himself 7 times. Wow. And one time he told me, "Avi, my parents don't like me. If my parents don't like me, that means I'm not likable." A few days later, he rammed his car into a wall at very, very high speed. And he was the most normal geschmack. Whoever knows him knows him. Tzaddik of a kid. He was already 35 years old, 34 years old. So much pain. And he tells me afterwards, he was in the hospital for 6 months. And I went to visit him, of course, and he says, like, what an idiot. Like, who tries to kill yourself ramming 150 miles an hour into a wall, or whatever it was, and I forgot to take off my seatbelt. So he broke his collarbone, he broke his ribs, he broke his knee, his hip. And he was in the hospital for 6 months in so much pain. And the nakuda was, my own parents don't like me. I could explain the difference between like and love.
What is the difference from like and love?
So I made this up.
Okay.
If you like it, great. If not, sorry, I made this up. I don't know if it's true. The way it works in the world is, how do you love somebody? How do you develop feelings of...
I get me the vibe, but is that humble? Zij is soft-spoken. Zij is easy. Very interesting guy.
Real love towards somebody. First, you like them, because if you don't like them, it's over.
Right.
Then you spend time with them. You like them more. So there's like, a lot of like, more like, a lot of like. A lot at the end of the road of a lot of like
love.
is love.
Fine.
And there's no way to get to love without like, except for one way. Hashem made it in the Bria when you have a child. The kid's born. You don't know him. And you'll die for him.
Right.
You love the child. It skips over the whole like process. And you would die for this kid who wakes you up in the middle of the night and is crying and is annoying and you're changing the diaper. You so love this kid.
There's a love.
There's a love.
There's a love there.
There's a love. And that love stays forever. In fact, a lot of the mistakes and the hate is frustrated love, that the parents say, I hate you, I wish you died. No, it's because if it was your neighbor's kid, you wouldn't care so much. Yeah. So they love their kid, and that stays the same way that Hashem's love to us. Right. It's all connected. Yeah. Our love for our kids, that's what unconditional love is. People say, the way to treat your child. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in unconditional love. Unconditional love is a fact that even if your kid is a murderer, you will...
It's in your heart.
Yeah, you can't stop that love. You will cry when they execute him, even if he deserves it. Even if you call him into the police because you know where he is, because you have to and you have to save because he kills...
Mother's love is a mother's love.
When they do the electric thing and a chair and everybody applauds, you'll also applaud and you'll cry and you'll be in pain. Why? Because the love is there, it never goes away. Mother and a father.
Yeah.
Fine. A child who's growing up never experienced the free connection to love without like. So they only know that love is the end of like. So they don't believe that you love me if you don't like me. And therefore, they feel like a tremendous emptiness inside of their heart. They feel a lot of pain that my own parents don't love me. You could say I love you, but you don't like me means you don't love me. Because in their world, there's no way, even if they can't express it, love is the end of like.
So what you're saying is that they only know like.
Right.
And because they only know like, they'll say, my parents don't like me.
Right. And if they don't like me,
they don't love me.
They can't love me. And a lot of them say, and what do I care if my parents love me, if they don't like who I am?
Yeah.
Like this boy said, and so many. What's the difference how many people would cry at my levaya? They don't like me that I'm alive. I'm here now. They don't like who I am. They're not happy with the child that Hashem gave them. And even though these kids are the most wonderful, precious neshamas, anybody dealing with kids, we realize that you look past the outer layers. Just like we want Hashem to look past our layers, even though maybe it's not physical that you see it, but we have layers. And inside we're gold. That's why a person, it's like the urn. It's like a person is on the outside, gold, and the inside, it's like Adam Eitz Asada can get fulfilled. But further inside is gold again. And we want Boichin Libais Hashem, Goyle Amukais B'Yom Din. I came up with a word, and someone told me it's not written in Nesiv Shalom, but an Enikel told me that Nesiv Shalom said it once in Rosh Hashanah. So Baruch Shekivanti. I was mechameh to it. I was once davening, and I was saying,
welcome.
Yedei Machshavos B'Yom Din. It's terrifying. You know what I'm thinking B'Yom Din. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Goyle Amukais. You're revealing the depths. Oh boy, this is terrible. And then I said, you know what? Yeah, but keep digging, because under that schmutz is I want to be good. Yeah. Under that schmutz is beautiful. So you know the outer layer, right? And then you know the inner layer, oivei, but you know the
underlying, deep underlying, you know, the real love.
And then I said, everyone's going, I said, bring it on.
Yeah.
Please. But you got to get past the schmutz part. Right. And go inside, and you know what you have?
Purity. Pure.
Another Nesiv Shalom, where he says, we say, Shir Amalis, Hashem, from the depths, we call out Hashem. He says, it doesn't mean just a bad place, you're in a bad matzav or sin. From deep inside of you. Right. Afilu, even if someone is in a matziv that he's not Mesugel L'Kroi Hashem, he's not going to shul and he's not davening, but you should know me, mamakim. Deep inside, he's calling out to Hashem. He's saying, Hashem, Shema B'Kaili, please rescue me. Nobody wants to be down there.
Right.
So mi mamakim. Yeah, be Yedei Machshavos. Yeah, you're drilling, but you have to get past the schmutz. But then you'll see beautiful things that I really want to be good.
Yeah, gewaldig. What message would you want to give to parents to know what is going on in their rebellious teen's mind?
There's normal teen rebellion, which, somebody once sent me this picture, and it said that a guy goes into a library and he goes over to the desk and said, I'm looking for a book on raising teenagers. And they said, it's in the horror section. So this regularly, you have to understand teenagers. They're finding themselves, the father walks with his hat down and he's edel, and the kid all of a sudden has hair and his hat's up and he's got this. They're not little clones of us. Like, we think that we're going to have 12 kids, like a dozen donuts. 6 are going to be exactly like Tati. 6 are going to be exactly like Mommy. No. You're going to get one who's a little too smart, and one's a little bit too this, and one's not enough this. And you're going to get all different kinds of people. You're going to get all different kinds of experiences. Each one is a Olam Mali, going through a system that, we're not going to get into because it has a lot of miles, but it's difficult for some people. And they're going to emerge differently. You're not going to have 6 Rosh Hashivas Tzadikim and also Torah Gdula B'Makom Echad and also rich and also Chesed and all. No, one's going to have a stutter and one's going to have ADD and one's going to have ODD and one's going to have MP3 and JFK and all going to have different staples on them. Yeah. You have to realize how to raise them through this year, that by forcing them to be the way the final product is going to be, damages the final product. Yeah, during Zmirs, they're not going to sing. I always, I look at the picture of the Shabbos table in all the books. I don't know who snapped that picture, but I never found a Shabbos table that looks like that.
Like that, yeah.
You know who has it the hardest? Bali Tshuva.
Because
they come back to Hashem, yeah, and all of a sudden, like, what the heck is going on over here? I looked at all these beautiful pictures and Shabbat, and it's beautiful. Shabbos is gewaldig, and these kids are jumping and running. Nobody's sitting there and singing Kochs. Now, if you have it,
great.
It's Gan Eden.
Yeah,
it's Gan Eden. I have the most wonderful kids. My kids didn't like singing. Now they sing. Now they're married, and I sit there and I'm like thinking, oh, now they're going to watch this. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking I got the last laugh because now I make them. I don't start Zmirs. Let them start. Right. But when they were kids, they weren't interested.
Right.
I don't know why. I loved to sing when I was a kid. Always. They didn't. You can't think that this is. Oh my gosh, this is the final.
Joseph. Hello and welcome. Thank you. Mastermind. Hello. Joseph. Thank you again.
And you've got this, and you've got this, and you've got this, and you've got this. It doesn't work like that. I'll tell you a very big yisoid. I quote everybody, so it's so beautiful. It's like someone said, like, you open up Raising Royalty over here, and you see a story from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, you see a story from the Satmar Rebbe, from Reb Shach.
You don't discriminate.
I don't. I take anything that's tired from all of our beautiful Gedolim. So it's very interesting. What is parenting? So it's brought down from Reb Shach. That's all. Reb Shach says that a parent has two jobs, two tafkidim. One tafkid is Yimin Mekarev, give him a home and take care of him. And one tafkid is small deicha. Don't do this, punish, make sure he acts like a bench. In other words, one is the
Punishen darf nicht an, weil du hast weigetin dan Tata oder weigetin dan Mama. Punishment is also wie a kleine introduction to the Welt. Because the Welt is going to smack you. The Welt is nicht forgiving. Wenn a Kind ist in der Heim, weiß der Tage, nur man Tata, nur man Mama hat mich punishen. Maar als Yeshiva pflegt sagen, die meisten sagen, ich bin schlecht, war bis die Geister aus in der Welt, und die sehen, als live, hat sagen, dann Rebbe, dann Manal, dann Magachir, dann Vab. Life will kick you. So a parent's job is to trainen the kind, ja, die Guys werden punished, und ich gehe dir es du punishen in a safe space, als wenn die Geister aus in der Welt, bist du nicht übergenommen, bist du nicht overtaken, bist du nicht zimischt. This is the Struggle Podcast mit Avi Fishoff. The podcast for some reason is not picking up. I'm not sure why, but it's not. But yeah. But this is awesome with the Avi Fishoff.
And the love, and I love you, and you're so great, and you're the best. And one is to be mechanechim, and to tell him, no, you can't do that, and you got to do this, and if you're not, you're going to get punished. There's two tafkidim, right?
Yeah.
So he says that was from Brias Olam until the Gemara's times. In the Gemara's times, there was someone named Fishoff ben Gamla. Fishoff ben Gamla created a chinuch system where you send your kid to school. That Rebbe is your shliach. He's doing your chinuch that you need to do 30, 40, 50 hours a week, whatever it is. Yeah. He says, now, you gave away that tafkid. And now, the tafkid of chinuch is their job on your behalf. They teach them alphas, they teach them how to behave, they teach them what to do. And he says, now the parents, he wrote this maybe 45, 50 years ago. Now parents are left with tafkid echad bilvad. One job.
Which one?
Laharif aleim ahava. To shower your kids with love.
Ooh.
Make for them whatever they want. Take care of them. Look what he writes. I quote it in here. I quote the Hebrew words a lot so people could get the richness of the Hebrew words. And you can look it up and then say, what? He's telling me, now he's not saying, there's no bedtime and there's no, be normal. But you don't have to be mechanech your kids. You have to make sure, and this is what I feel, the job of a parent is to deliver to school the happiest child. So their mind is open to learn.
Wow.
That's your whole job.
Wow.
En darf nog het als a kind darf wissen, als darf viel nog het als a Tata en a Mama zijn du eibig zu hören. Any problem was a kind hat, der eibig wissen, kann gehen zu seiner Tata, kann gehen zu seiner Mama, kann eibig reden. A backbone. Sei good, the podcast.
Now, what I take out from this is that you're saying that these teenage kids, the struggling kids, have no problem with Yiddishkeit. It is always heartbreak. Is that correct? Because there are people who will say that he just wants a freie Leben. He wants to...
I haven't found anybody that actually works with kids that says that. The people who work with kids know that that's not true. The people who are just looking outside their window, they call them, what's it called, armchair philosopher.
Nog eenmaal, die pusht weg dein Kind, wo sie geht sagen, als enjoyt nicht den draußen Gewalt. So, push nicht weg. Geh sie nicht the Terrors wegzugehen und seeken. Because the Ritze might come back differently.
You save 100 kids, and you'll see. that they have no problem with Yiddishkeit. But it's like, I said, this is the only field in the world that you have some experts and 99.9% not experts, and they will argue with the experts.
Right.
I've never found anybody, and if you're out there, please contact me, who has saved, let's say 10 kids, who has spent 1,000 hours in this, and that feels differently. I once went to speak to a Rav with a huge...
So, no, the problem is, as so do Eltern was nutzen the Yiddishkeit as a tool. So all of a sudden, yeah, jetzt hat man nicht lieb der Tool. In der Tool meint Yiddishkeit für sei.
Tzaddik, Malach, Chaim Tzvi Glantz, Reb Chaim Glantz, who's running our place, which is a drop-in center in Flatbush for I don't know, 25 years.
Behind the scenes, right?
He's unbelievable. I can tell you a story later, will blow your mind about him, but it's not just for him, it's to understand how to get through the wall, and it's such a beautiful story. But anyway, I was going with my dear friend, and we stopped off in Monsey to speak to a Rav, and I was very young. You know, I look at everybody as older and more mature than me. He certainly is. And he was in it only maybe 2-3 years more than me, but I just felt like he's in this more than me. So I really just sat very quiet. And the Rav said something about the Rishuim. And he jumped up. He was slamming the desk. He's the sweetest guy in the world. He says, I'm looking for this Rusha already for 10 years.
Can't find them.
I can't find them. I keep on finding Tzabrach and Eden. I always say, we're not dealing with a healthy Esav. We're dealing with a sick Yaakov.
Wow.
Ooh. Sorry,
Somebody sent me, it's a little bit gaiva, so I'm just going to say it because I think it's real. He said that the Dr. Sarno showed that not every physical problem is really a physical problem.
No, his ideas about back pain is in the mind.
Emotions.
Emotions, absolutely.
And he said that me, but it's really everybody who's doing this, we proved that not every Yiddishkeit problem is a Yiddishkeit problem.
Correct.
It's emotional.
Yeah.
People get hurt in the name of Hashem for all different types of reasons that maybe would be a different podcast, which I don't know if we need to discuss.
Right.
Without pain, I've never met somebody who abandoned the way that they grew up in for something better. Nobody thinks that, I'm so smart that I'm going to drop out of school and smoke weed and I'm becoming... No, you have a few geniuses. It's usually the geniuses that are very philosophical and they become atheists and they talk about anti and they're proving whatever. I could tell you that in TP, we have at least 50 who were officially not just off, but atheists, who are today, none of them are atheists and many of them are from. Here's the Kiddush.
Okay. We'll leave that part going.
They never got any answers to their questions.
Correct. Only more questions.
They come to you with questions. Why is there a Holocaust? Where was God in the Holocaust?
Right.
And they become...
That's a stupid question in the atheist world.
From Islam, I have also these questions. It's never about that. That's why I tell parents, never send your kid to talk about Yiddishkeit to anybody. The guy can get up and speak to 1,000 goyim and can make them Bali Tshuva, can talk about God and prove there's a God. And you can't prove to Yaeli, 15 years old from Williamsburg, you're missing the boat over here.
Right.
Yaeli from Williamsburg.
Missing the boat. The people using words to be Mekayah of our kids, not the ones who didn't grow up from, the ones who grew up from, who are in pain, are using the least successful method to make them from, if you just care about that. Happens to be that we don't have to pick Yiddishkeit. Like a therapist once said, put Yiddishkeit on the back burner, let's deal with the health. So I was teasing him. I said, who are you to decide to put God on a back burner? He goes, well, they're not capable now, but they should at least be a mensch. I said, oh, guess what? The same reason that they can't function in Yiddishkeit, they can't function in Goyishkeit.
Right.
That's why they're sleeping all day, because they're in the middle of having a breakdown.
Right.
It happens to be that we don't have to put anything in front of anybody, because the derech of healing somebody emotionally, mentally, and spiritually is exactly the same medicine. It's connection. It's understanding, a deep understanding, supplying you so you feel as taken care of as your brothers. Yes, for this kid, you're lucky. All you have to do is buy a Gemara. And for this kid, nebuch. But if you're allowed to Apitayr to buy it, you buy it, and then they feel taken care of.
Right.
Now, chabamama, chabatata.
Right.
Ooh, watch what happens.
Wow. Ich weiß nicht, wo das hat wenig Views. 1900 Views. I don't know why this has 1900 Views. The podcast, the Struggle Podcast, is not really picking up. Part 2 coming next week. Okay, we will definitely watch part 2. Vergeet maar like de video. Red niet van likes. Ga bij hit de like button. Ze gaat te lang deze geweest. Vahanayni boira yoilam. Avi Fishoff is a god one, although I don't care for the host. Yeah, the show, the setup, the ganze Sache is something is missing. Something is missing. But it happens to be this was a pretty awesome one. This was pretty awesome. I gerät geht. I can basically shower your kids with love. Gesen ich kann Sachen zu tun. Das ist pressure und gar nicht. Very nice. Hat nur 6 Comments. Und sagt, bringt rup du a Sach von der Swurm. Interessant, dass der Chevre von der Swurm aber nicht mehr gepumpt ist.
Remember this.
Alright, ich will lassen den Podcast. It was a lot. Meaning, habe ich stark enjoyed. Und ich will nicht watchen noch etwas. Weil ich will the information soll actually herangehen. I don't like the whole vibe. I feel you. I think you got a point there, Vinny. Because he's not getting views. He's not... The people that he has, Y.W. Jacobson, marriage crisis. Would you join a cult? Ehrlich. Nur 1200 subscribers. 112 days. Avi is a gem, yes. Es geht rauskommen der zweite. So, ich will nicht machen noch a Review Handnacht. Because of the... Weil man fängt zu watchen Ziesach Reviews. It doesn't settle into your brain. So... Alright, Chevre. Es kommen der Zeit, wir darf sagen goodbye. It's kind of easy. No matter how many times I've tried. Wir geben mich für jeder einen, was du gewinn eine lange Zeit, eine kurze Zeit, a viele Dinge, um mich auf andere Tab, und gemacht mir YouTube an der Tab, aber mich mein dir, thank you. Wir geben mich für alle Share, Likers, Commenters, Subscribers, and especially Members. Ich will auch geben ein Special Shoutout für Shia, und geben ein Superchat. Und ich kann euch Joseph, und geben ein Superchat. It really helps out the channel. This is what actually keeps the channel going, you know. Jede Karte darf Gas. Otherwise, food nicht the car. Jede Karte darf insurance, otherwise, food es nicht. Thank you all for being here. Housekeeping. Morgen. Live 8:45 in der Früh. Die will schicken etwas für the Unboxing. Monday, 10 Uhr. Ich habe gepinnt der Address. Kann schicken etwas, die willst. Ob sie kommt etwas soon, Monday, 10 o'clock in the morning, is unboxing. It's a sign of the life. Alrighty, Chevre. Thank you all for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed. And we'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay kind to one another. Peace.